Kids, it's been a while since I've done a video. The reason it is because on medication, especially on these new medications, I've had a desire to do videos like 3 or 4 times a week, but then when I get to do it, it's like, ugh, do I have the strength? Ugh, do I have the energy? Ugh, does anyone really give a shit? And I used to just do the videos because I didn't care if anybody gave a shit. I just wanted to speak my mind. And today I'm going to just push through it. And since we have this like wonderful full moon on this historic day, I've had a lot of energy and I'm up much later than usual. And I wanted to talk about a series of things that I haven't had a chance to talk about for a while. So here we go. First of all, I've had some great trips this year. They've been very memorable. I've got to see some people I love dearly and spend time with them and reconnect with some people that were very, very important in my life that I hadn't had a chance to connect with personally in a very long time. So that was magical. Second thing I wanted to talk about was 2016 presidential politics and how absolutely revolted I am to be an American right now. It is disgusting. I have no stomach for Trump, and because I personally have met the asshole. Trump is an asshole. First of all, I had met him personally, and I was forced to provide service for him. And he was such a douche, such an asshole, such an ungrateful, arrogant son of a bitch that he ended up getting a nice pair of bent golf clubs when he got to his final destination. Thank you very much. I have no use for that motherfucker. I have not had any use for that motherfucker since the 1990s. So it's not something about his run right now that I don't like about him. I've despised him for decades. He's just a complete asshole. In every way, shape, and form. All you have to do is meet him in person once to realize it. He's absolutely disgusting. Truly, on every level. Now, the other person I don't like, and I haven't liked for a very long time, decades, as a matter of fact, is Hillary. Hillary Clinton is absolutely repulsive to me. She makes my skin crawl. Now, Trump is an asshole and a douche, and he's evil, but he has a soul, so he will go to hell at some point. Hillary, on the other hand, doesn't have a soul, and neither does her husband Bill, for that matter. And I got that personally from their closest advisor way back in the 90s when they were in the White House. As a matter of fact, I remember the day I spoke with their closest personal advisor. I sat right next to him on a plane going from Miami to Washington, D.C. in first class, and we sat and had cocktails and a nice long talk. And it was the night that Bill Clinton gave the State of the Union address right after the Monica Lewinsky scandal had broken. And I remember asking this guy, I said, wow, I said, he must be under such tremendous pressure. And this guy, point blank, told me that no, he's not. He doesn't give a fuck. He compartmentalizes everything very well, and so does his wife. They don't feel pressure like that. They don't have a soul. This is the closest advisor. So when anybody tries to tell me Hillary's better than Trump or Trump's better than Hillary, go fuck both of them. None of the above. Thank you very much. Ew. Ew. Just ew. What else do I want to talk about? Oh, my new medication. A lot of people have been seeing that I've had this, like, all these strange reactions that come on very intensely and then suddenly disappear, and then suddenly appear again and suddenly disappear. I've been taking a new medication since early May when I returned from LA. And the medication is not for mental illness. It's not for my diabetes. It's not for my high blood pressure. It's not for anything except my autoimmune diseases, which are psoriasis and psoriatic arthritis. Now, if you know anything about autoimmune diseases, they're insidious. And if you know, and they're like not really treatable. I mean, you can kind of treat them, but 99% of all the medications that have ever been created to treat them are almost guaranteed to cause you some kind of insidious cancer within 5 years. They came up with a new drug recently and put it out in the market that doesn't cause cancer. Now, it only has about a 75% effective rate, but at least it doesn't kill you in the process. But it does have some horrible side effects. And some of the side effects, most of the side effects I already knew about walking into this. And this drug is $60,000 a year if you paid cash for it. And if I used my insurance, $27,000 a year. But since I'm on disability, I only make like $17,000 a year. I couldn't afford it if I wanted to, no matter what. So I spent 4 months fighting with my insurance company, going through the process of being denied and denied again and denied again. And finally, and appealing and denying and appealing and denying until I got to the last step. And then I sent all that information over to this drug company that makes this drug. And they said, wow, well, we will go ahead. We have a program for people just like you. And we'll go ahead and pay for the whole thing for free. And they gave me the drug from the beginning of May all the way until December for free to try. Now, the drug takes 4 full months to see the maximum effectiveness. It takes about a week or 2 to get up to the regular dose, maybe I think it was 8 or 9 days, to get up to the full dose, which is 30 milligrams twice a day. And I can tell you, I've been through hell with this drug, just hell. And because it plays on so many different things. It plays on, the first thing that this drug does as a side effect is it dramatically increases depression, which I like depression because I'm safe on depression. I can sleep on depression. I just shut down. Now, when I'm manic, I'm dangerous because when I'm manic, I'm full of energy and I want to go out and do things and spend money and travel the world and do all this other shit. And I've had taken some wonderful vacations because of manic episodes, but they've cost me dearly. This drug is very depressive, and it also, increases suicidal thoughts. And I'm not particularly a suicidal person. I've wanted to die since I was 25, but I've never wanted to take my own life. I've just wanted spirit to come down and wipe me away in a natural way, or even an unnatural way, it doesn't matter. Because I remember once being held up by a gun. This guy stuck this gun in my ribs, and I shoved it up to my head, and I told the motherfucker to kill me, to blow my brains out. I dared him to, and then I begged him to, and he still wouldn't do it. And he never finished robbing me. He just ran away like a big pussy. So that was kind of discouraging, because I thought, here's my moment. I'm going to die. And in a foreign country even. So no one could do a damn thing about it, which would have been great, because they wouldn't know what to do. So that was another thing. Now, so having suicidal thoughts, even the idea of having suicidal thoughts pop into my head has been strange. And they have popped into my head momentarily. Just the idea that it was possible that here is another way we could go, and for so many years that has never been even an option of something I ever thought of as a way to go. But this drug has managed to break through that barrier, which is so not me. Not that I'm concerned at all about taking my own life, but the fact that it could break through shows just how strong it is. And this drug, you can feel it changes your whole body because it's changing your body chemistry and the way your body reacts to everything. Because when you have an autoimmune disease like I do, your body's fighting itself. It's attacking itself. It doesn't recognize itself. It thinks you're a foreign object. Your own body thinks your own body is a foreign object. That's what's so insidious about autoimmune diseases, and most of them, if not all of them, are genetic. And since I was adopted, I had no idea I had all these fucked up genes. So my life is just this unfolding catastrophe where I've discovered over the decades that I'm just a genetic cesspool. And frankly, I've been ready to go ever since I discovered that. What else? I have my first regret. And I thought I would never regret anything in my life. But I actually managed to find the first thing I've ever regretted. And I'm going to tell you what it is. And it's going to sound really sad. But years ago, several years ago, there was this epidemic of young kids killing themselves because they were gay, committing suicide because they were being bullied and not accepted, and their parents were rejecting them, and kids were beating them up at school and all this kind of stuff, and their life was a living hell. And they were killing themselves. And a lot of us older gays were like, oh my God, it gets better. So, and some of the younger gays started this too. It was like, it gets better campaign. It gets better, it gets better. So we all ran out and made videos about, hang in there, it gets better. And frankly, after this last murderous tragedy last week, and all the other things I've seen since that time, and since I've been gay at 17, and that's a fucking long time ago, that was 1983, it really doesn't get any better, no matter how old you get. And it's sad. And what I've seen even more disturbingly is a shift from, the message got through to these younger kids that once you get out of high school, it'll get a little bit better. But what I'm seeing is a trend of 20 and 30-year-olds killing themselves because it really doesn't get that much better. And sometimes it gets worse. And then when you have to witness these tragedies on top of everything else, it's really kind of fucked. And then you say, well, I feel like a total idiot. So maybe I made a video 5 years ago that told some kid, hey, it's going to get better. Some little Latino kid in Orlando, for example, that it was going to get better. And now they were in their 20s, and they got shot in a fucking nightclub. It didn't get any better. Think about that. It didn't get any better. It just got delayed. And that's the sad thing. And I spoke with someone a generation older than me, like someone that would have been my mother. And we had a long talk about a variety of things. And we both have come from completely different backgrounds. And we have not really understood each other for a lot of years, but we've learned to shut up and listen to each other and be honest and talk on a real level. And we've learned, even though we don't always agree, and we certainly never will, that we have a respect for each other and we have an understanding of why we look at life differently because of our different life experiences. But the one thing that we could agree on the other day was that it doesn't get any better. Now, this is coming from a Christian woman who has been married, has kids, has grandkids, has money, has a happy life. You know, you can't get much better than what she's had. I mean, she's had her tragedies too. She's had losses in her life, and they've been very sad and tragic. But for the most part, if you looked at her life compared to pretty much, you know, the average American, she has a pretty damn good life. And she has a wonderful family. And they're pretty loving, and they're pretty close, and they're all pretty normal. You know, as far as being normal goes, they're all pretty much put together. So to have her say, no, it doesn't get any better, really struck me, like right here, and made me realize that I had made a mistake. And I regret ever making a video that said, it gets better, because it doesn't. The shit just continues on. It changes a little bit. It changes in its tone. It changes in its, you know, like in subtle ways. So the conversation might change a little bit, but it's still fucked. Life in general is still kind of fucked. And you don't have to necessarily be gay to realize that life is kind of fucked. And that it's not this wonderful thing that Disney sold us as kids, at least in my generation, that everything was going to be happy and okay as long as you did the right things, and that you sent out love and happiness and la 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 la, and everything would be sunshine and flowers and you know, whatever. No, not happening. Never has happened, never will happen. Sorry about that. That's just not human nature at all. So, sadly to say, I have found my very first regret. And I would never ever tell another human being that it gets better. Now, I can tell people that I've learned how to cope with shit and just get on with life, no matter how shitty it is, because there's ways to cope with shit. And I can go ahead and make that argument now, but I can't say, oh, it's going to get better, because it won't. You just have to learn how to cope with the shit and get on with it. So that's about it. Now, I've had some wonderful trips in the last year. I went to Peru, had a great time with my godson and his friends, and it was just magical. And I went around the world, and I have never been to a more haunted country and more haunted place in the world than Cambodia. That place just crawls with the paranormal and the dead because of all the killing. And sadly, most of that killing was due to the United States. Henry Kissinger, son of a bitch, allowed that. And this country allowed that. So to think that we're some kind of high and mighty, morally superior beings, we're not. We're low-life pieces of shit. And we just sit and blow smoke up each other's ass to try to feel better. And if you don't think that's true, check the fucking history of our nasty country. Because we're nasty and gross. We go down to Central America and infect people with diseases and see how they react and all this kind of bullshit. We've done some really fucked up shit in our lives. We wiped out nearly all the Indians, all the buffalo, all the everything, just for our own selfish desires. It's gross. I mean, the United States, I don't know how we sit there and we're proud of ourselves, because we're one of the most nasty, evil nations that ever existed. If you really look at it hard, we're really fucked. I mean, we're really nasty people. No wonder everybody kind of, is worried about us because we're just like this warmongering, ready to screw your whole life, blow you up kind of people. And we get really excited about it, and we get this like sense of superiority that we really don't have. It's all an illusion. And then we sell to the world that we're the land of milk and honey and golden paved streets and all the stuff that they used to think Colombia was. We've been selling that crap via Hollywood to the rest of the world since like the 40s, 30s, 40s. And people still believe it, and they come here and they learn that you have to work like a slave and you still never get anywhere. And that's the truth. And it's funny that people say, oh, all these immigrants are taking our jobs and blah, 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 blah. A lot of them bail out and go home because they had it better at home than they do here. And if you don't think that's true, then you have your head so far up your ass, you don't even know what you're talking about. And that's the truth. So, just gotta say, it's been nice talking to you. I know it's been a 20-minute video, but I don't get out much anymore. So I don't get to talk on the video too much. But I wanted to share those things with you because they've been weighing hard on my mind a lot. And they explain a lot of what's been going on with me and why I'm changing. Oh, and one last thing. Social media. Oh my God. If you open yourself up to the public, even if you're not famous and you're really nothing and you're just some invalid that sits at home, you can't imagine the bullshit that comes flowing across your screen and the requests that come flowing across your screen every day. Now, anybody that knows me personally knows I only have 2 morals. 2! Most people have all these other morals they pretend to have, but I only have 2. I don't do kids, and I don't do animals. Leave the kids and the animals out of it. Consenting adults have so many opportunities to do so many things, you don't need to fuck with kids or fuck with animals. It's pretty simple. And this comes from a sex worker. Okay? I don't do kids. I don't approve. I think it's nasty. I think it's gross. I think it's despicable, and I think it's worth being killed for. If I ever saw somebody fuck a kid, an adult, I'd kill them. And if I ever saw somebody harming a kid or harming an animal, I'd fucking kill them. I'd take the partial out of my mouth and I'd slit their fucking throat in a heartbeat. And not even think twice about it and be happy to go to prison. Because those are my only 2 morals. I have 2. And yet, I have these kids that, because I visited different countries, I have these kids from 16 to 30. 16! What the fuck do I have in common with a 16-year-old? What would I even want with that? Least alone an 18-year-old or even a 21-year-old. Yeah, I can relate and kind of be a daddy figure, but I don't want to have a relationship with you. I don't want to be your lover. I don't want anything like that. It just makes my skin crawl. Sorry, I'm just not into kids. We got, I'd say good morning and you'd be stuck for a fucking answer. That's just the truth. Ew. Like, who needs that? I can't relate to your music, I don't know about your culture, and I don't care to. If you sit down and talk to me like a friend, then I have an open mind to learn, but I don't want to be your partner. We're not going to be ever equal. I'm too old. It's just the nature of the beast. I'm not a pervy old dude looking for a young chick, Or I'm not a pervy old faggot looking for a young boy. I'm not that guy. Never have been. Never will be. So when I had all this like traffic after my trips, suddenly every day just being bombarded with requests for friendships and all this kind of stuff and messages and all this crap. And then the few times I tried to have just a normal conversation, it always ended up being 5 sentences into whatever conversation. Oh, I love you. Or, oh, I think the world of you. If you never met me, you don't know me. How could you think the world of me? You have to spend time with me for that. Because I can be a real cunt. I can be really nice and very generous and very thoughtful and patient and understanding, but I can also be a real cunt. I mean, ugh, horrible. I can be as nasty as they get. And I can be as frigid as an iceberg because my mama taught me that. And it disturbs me that I kept getting these. And it was from females and males all over the globe. Southeast Asia, Middle East, Africa, South America, Eastern Europe, Soviet Union, Russia, sorry. But like everywhere, even in this country. What do I want with an 18-year-old kid that I've never met that thinks that they're cute and therefore I'm going to have some kind of just uncontrollable sexual desire for them? Obviously they haven't grown older and realized that sexual desire kind of fades. And especially if you're on a lot of medication, it really fades. And that's something that I've had to teach a lot of people. And I got tired of it, so I've kind of gone, friends only kind of thing. And if you're not my friend on social media and you don't know me, then don't bother. Because I'm really not going to accept you. It's creepy enough meeting people in person. But meeting people online, especially if you can't even tell if their picture's real, because you look at their picture and then you send it out to see where else it's been, and suddenly it's 5 other people. How do you even trust that? Like, who are you even talking to, or why? It's like click, delete, click, block, click, have a nice day. So, kids, that's what's been going on with me. And I know 99% of my friends will never watch all of this, and they really don't give a fuck. And that's fine. But at least I put it on the record, and I made it, because this medication's been fucking with me, and I've had a hard time communicating and even staying cognizant of my life at times. I've been having blackout spells where I literally don't even remember having phone conversations or communicating on the computer. And that's kind of frightening. So I know I did this, and I'm recording it, and I'm going to put it online, not only on YouTube, but on Facebook, so that I'll always have a memory that at least I was awake and made this video. And that's important for me. It has nothing to do with anybody else. So, have a great day.